live stream. Thanks for joining me tonight. If you're catching the replay, thanks for watching. In the comment section below, please leave your comments in relation to some of the kitchen nightmares that you may have experienced, or anything you want answers for in the realm of kitchen design or kitchen renovations. I love to get in the comments and try to answer as many as possible. So if you're watching the replay, thank you. Hit the comments and also check out the description below for a link for my online kitchen design solution. If you're joining me live tonight, thanks for watching. We're going to talk about some kitchen horror stories, talk about some of the reasons why they occur, and what to do in the case of if you come up against some kind of complication in your kitchen renovation project. And I'm going to share some of the things that I've done in the past and experienced, either because it was my own fault or something that was just completely out of my control in the kitchen renovation business. I've been in this business for 20 years. I've seen a lot. Sometimes I think I've seen it all, and then I hear comments from viewers and they express something that they went through or seen, and I realize that there's a lot I haven't seen, and I'm thankful for that. But being in this business for so long, I've come across a lot and have made a lot of mistakes along the way. And, that's just part of the game. That's part of the learning process, is to make mistakes. But when you're spending people's money and people are purchasing kitchens, mistakes oftentimes cost a lot of money. They cost time, they cost frustration. And when you're the person responsible for that, it's not a great feeling. So I've been on the receiving end of some really nasty phone calls and personal interchanges with people because of some errors that have occurred in the past. So I want to talk about those errors tonight. And I invite you just to put your comments in the chat if you're watching the live, and say hi, reach out, and we'll chat. So I'm going to go through some of these errors that I want to talk about tonight. I'm going to jump in the chat in a little bit and communicate with you guys. I love interacting in the chat and just hanging out. So thanks again for joining me. And let's just jump right in. So I'm going to go in a little bit of an order here and talk about some of the different types of errors that occur, and some things, and how, not just errors that occur, but how I personally have been involved in some of these errors and witnessed them. And, I'm thankful, though, that over my career, I haven't had to witness, an enormous amount of horror stories. I really had to think about some of the negative jobs that I've done over the years. I've been really blessed to have great clients and great people that I've worked with along the way to make the whole process that much better. Definitely couldn't have done it on my own. And so there's a lot of people in the mix. But when mistakes happen, they stand out to you more so than the good ones, because they probably had a traumatizing experience. So anyway, the first one we wanted to chat about tonight, and that is this error, has to do with miscommunication. Now, I don't know if you've ever miscommunicated with somebody. Are you married? If you're married, you probably understand this. Now, Amy and I have never miscommunicated. I just am always wrong. So there's no, anyway. Miscommunication is so easy to occur. And when you're talking about all the intricate details of a kitchen renovation, it's easy to happen. You might think that your designer knows what you're talking about, but they might think something else. And this happens a lot. It's happened to me in the past. One particular thing that stood out when I was thinking about this was I did a job for a couple, and they ordered cabinets. Of course, that's what they were ordering. They were ordering a new kitchen, and we decided on the door style and the color and the layout and all the stuff that you decide on. And what had happened is that they thought they were getting a particular door style, and I thought they were getting a different door style. Now, it's not a big deal, but when you're expecting something and they were a little bit different, they weren't really that close of two different door styles. And the kitchen came in, it was being installed, the client's there, and I get the phone call that this isn't what I ordered. And looking through their file and trying to figure out what's going on, I realized that I have all the information correct. Like I didn't make any mistakes. So what happens now? They're saying that one thing, I'm saying something else. I looked through everything. There's no mistakes. I did everything correct, but that's not what they were expecting. Somewhere in our verbal communication, they expressed that they wanted this particular door style, and that's not what they got. So over the course of the events, I decided to tell them, listen, I don't have that particular door style written down anywhere. My superior went through my file. Everything seems to be like I did everything right. Now, I didn't say that I did everything right and you were wrong. Here's what I told them. Listen, I will reorder your kitchen, no problem. We'll get you new cabinet doors, not the whole kitchen, but we'll get your doors right, because that's the thing that was wrong. But the problem is that they just thought I was lying to them, and they were calling me a liar, and that they had ordered this and I knew, and all this stuff. And anyway, it was a pretty bad experience, especially when I knew that I was trying to do everything in my power to do it right, and that didn't happen. Anyway, we ended up getting the job fixed. It was all fine. But in the end, it was like anytime I'd see them, because we're in a community, so it's not a huge community, but if I'd see them in the community, I just feel like, like that was really bad. It would remind me of this time. But I didn't do anything wrong other than there was a miscommunication. So how do you solve that? How do you get around that? When you're dealing with a designer, it's very important to go over the details over and over and over again, to express to them everything you can, to say, this is what I want, and make sure it's double checked, so that at least the two of you are on the exact same page. Now, obviously this would have been done, and we did this, we sat down, but somewhere verbally was expressed and it never got transferred into an order. And so the problem is with miscommunication, if you think something is happening and I think something else is happening, and there's thousands of dollars on the line, when that comes to be installed, and when it's time for that kitchen to come to fruition, and all things are happening and rolling, and you have this big problem, it can cause, hey Zoe, it can cause quite a bit of stir. So communicate. You can never communicate enough. And I think that if you're a designer out there, or if you're in that position where you need to jot everything down, take notes of every conversation you have with your client, if it needs to happen that way. But miscommunication can cause big problems in a kitchen job, and it's just one of those things that can happen. So if that has been your experience, let me know. Miscommunication, it's all of these are human error, and the next one is human error. I'll bring it up. All of these are human error. And the reason that all of these errors happen, or the reason that any of these horror stories can happen, is because people are involved. And anytime people are involved, we're going to mess things up. I mean, I don't mean to sound negative, but if we're involved, there's a high chance and a high likelihood that something could go wrong. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And when you're doing things like this, and you're dealing with all the moving parts of ordering a kitchen, designing a kitchen, laying out a kitchen, the whole bit, there's bound to be something that can go wrong, and we're all human. So that's fine. And it's good to say that. But when you're on the receiving end of some of these things, it can be like, well, I get that we're all human, but I still don't want there to be any mistakes on my job. It's costing money and time. So the less mistakes, the better. And I always understood that. That's just not always the way it played out. So the second one is human error. And like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces with a kitchen job, a lot of moving pieces. So me personally, my job would be to go and measure your kitchen. I would design your kitchen, sit down with you. We would go through all the iterations of what's possible, make all the changes. Then that kitchen would have to be ordered and confirmed and reconfirmed. And so there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Now, that's all fine if my only job was just to deal with your kitchen, but many designers go through this. There's all these other things that they're tasked with in their day-to-day job, other kitchen jobs as well. I could have had maybe 5 or 6 or 10 jobs on the go at one time, and all these things are moving at the same time. And so you can see it's easy for human error to occur, but sometimes it's even human error that I didn't cause. I had a kitchen come in one time, and the guys took it off the truck, they unloaded it, and they didn't put it in the warehouse, and they got off unloading other trucks and doing everything else that they were doing. And lo and behold, it started to rain, and nobody thought about bringing the kitchen inside. So this brand new kitchen that people have waited 8 to 10 weeks to receive is now outside in the rain, getting soaked. And I don't know about you, but cabinetry and water pouring on it, they just don't mix. And that was a huge nightmare. Clients who've been waiting, the phone call comes in. Hey, it's Mark. Your kitchen arrived today. We're going to get it delivered to you and get it installed. And like the excitement starts to boil because you've been waiting for this for so long, to get another phone call that's saying, yeah, funny thing, the weather, it rained all over your cabinets and they're completely ruined. So you can imagine how that went down for me. See, being the go-to guy, being the guy that you'd order it from and design it, like I'm the point of contact. So all the other people, they never had to deal with the client. I had to deal with the client. And because of that, if it was my fault or it wasn't my fault, I'm the guy picking up the phone. I'm the one having to deal with the client. And sometimes even if it wasn't my fault, it was my fault because I'm their source. I'm the person, I'm the contact. And they were not happy that these cabinets were left out in the rain. So nothing you can do about that other than reorder the kitchen. And, even the manufacturer's like, well, listen, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't get it out any faster to you. You try to fast track it. You try to do everything you can. And sometimes it's like you throw your hands up and you're like, oh, I don't know. How come they got left in the rain? Client was not happy. I wasn't happy either. But anyway, it happens. And we ordered a new kitchen and got the new kitchen in, and it just took extra long and they were super not happy. And we refunded them a ton of money. But I drive by the house every now and then. Amy and I are out for a drive, and I remember that's the house that the cabinets rained on, Anyway, never seen them again after that. Wonder why. Gee. Sometimes there's just totally random stuff that happens that you have no control over. And, what do you do? Of course, like I said just a minute ago, I'm the guy with the phone call, but I had a kitchen ordered one time for this client who was kind of, I don't know how to explain them. They weren't that nice starting off. You just, some people you don't click with. I didn't click with these people, or they didn't click with me. I like to think I click with everybody, but I just don't. So they were a little bit tense from the start, and we ordered this kitchen. And they were in a rush, like everybody is. Everyone's in a rush when they're doing a kitchen job. They want it now. They want it soon. They want a discount. They want everything. And their kitchen was ordered, and everything was perfect, I thought. Measured it, ordered it, designed it. They were happy, I guess. And I got a phone call. Where's the kitchen? And they're waiting for it. I call in the kitchen. It's shipped out. Okay, great. The kitchen shipped. It's on the way. Listen, we'll be there. As soon as it gets here, we'll get it out to you guys. We'll get it installed. It's going to be great. Get you out of my hair, basically. I don't want to deal with you people anymore. And the kitchen just doesn't show up. And I'm trying to figure out, like, why is this kitchen not showing up? And I call the manufacturer. No, it's shipped. It's gone. What's going on? Where's the kitchen? Where are these cabinets at? Of course, in the meantime, the clients are calling me, and I'm like, well, they shipped it. I don't know where they're at. It's been a day. I don't know where the kitchen's at, and they think I'm lying to them. And how come you don't know? Like, what's going on? Anyway, the cabinet's shipped to a different province. I don't know what to say about that. They shipped to a completely different province. So I'm in one province, in Canada, obviously, and it just shipped to a completely different province. I mean, nowhere close to where I am. And I had to call the client and be like, listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but your cabinets aren't coming. Anyway, that wasn't very good. They wanted to get lawyers involved in the whole bit. And I'm like, I'm just a cabinet guy. Like, I don't know. I did my best. I don't control the truck. And they didn't care. They're like, it doesn't matter. We trusted you that you were going to get these cabinets here. And I get it, but hey, some things we just don't have control over. That was a real nightmare for me because they were so tense anyway. And when this happened, it was even worse because, they just wanted to strangle me. And, maybe if I was in their shoes, I would be pretty upset as well. But sometimes things happen that we just don't have control over. And hey, that's just what goes on. I had lots of factory mistakes over the years where you'd order something and it would come in completely wrong, or it would come in scratched, or it would come in, just different color. I did a really big kitchen one time, really nice client. And it was their retirement home. And it was just, it was a beautiful kitchen. And the whole thing went sour when the cabinets arrived. That's not a good sign, but they were a different color than what they had ordered. They were two different wood tones, and the client's like, this is not what I ordered. And it wasn't. It was completely different. But the manufacturer went head to head with me. They just would not say that they made a mistake, even though the color of door that the client ordered from didn't match it at all. Completely different colors. There's no way they were trying to say that it was the same stain, but it's different. If it was just aged a little bit, it was completely different. It was obviously different. It was like just two different color crayons, completely. No way. And we had the rep from the company come down, and it was this big show to say, they weren't coming to help. They were just coming to say that they basically didn't do anything wrong and that the client was wrong. And it was just not pretty. Basically, it was out of my hands. There's nothing I could do because I wasn't getting any help from anywhere. It was really frustrating. The client was really frustrating, and the contractor was really frustrated to the point where he just didn't want to order cabinets from me. That's great. There goes my camera. Y2K. He didn't want to order cabinets from me anymore, which is a problem because you want contractor business when you're in this business of kitchen design. You want to get those contractors and you want them to trust you. And when this type of things happen, it's just a complete mess. So no fun, but just stuff that's completely random. So if you're experiencing a kitchen renovation, understand that there's a lot of these moving parts that can happen. And sometimes they're people mistakes. Well, they're all people mistakes, but sometimes they're just things that you have no control over. Obviously, the client has no control, period, over any of these things that happen. And that's the frustrating part for clients, is because they're just waiting. And, I'm supposed to have the answers, or I'm supposed to be able to make things go a particular way. And when they don't go a particular way, people get upset. But I found that the best way to mitigate that experience is to be very open and upfront and tell them exactly what's going on at all times, whether it's good or bad or otherwise, so that they're in the loop. And even if it's bad news, people normally, and you can let me know, appreciate that you're telling them what's up. Even if they don't like the news, at least they are in the loop. Yeah, you go right ahead.
Sorry. I was like, I can hold it more.
Teenagers. So there you go. Random, unexpected stuff that happens with my kids. It's all good. So stuff happens, and if we would understand that, okay, there's nothing I can do about it, but as long as the designer's upfront with you and telling you everything that you need to know when you need to know. And I've had that experience all kinds of time. And over the course of my career, the longer it has been going on, the more I've gotten comfortable with just telling people this is what's going on. I have no control over some of these things. Or even if I did, I made a mistake. Listen, I ordered your cabinets the wrong color. I'm sorry, we'll make it right. At least they know they're not waiting and kind of in a cloud somewhere. So this is definitely something that needed work on, that I needed to work on over the course of my time in where I was working, to get better at just being like, what, this is what's up. And I'm sorry, but as long as you know what's going on, normally you can deal with it. All right, let's do the next one. Rookie mistakes. Even pros make rookie mistakes, but rookies make mistakes too, a lot. That's why they're called rookie mistakes, and they're made when you're a rookie. And so sometimes when I was working, when I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes because I just didn't have experience. And sometimes I'd make those mistakes later on, but they were fewer and far between because I was getting more experience. I had systems in place so that I could make sure that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing to the best of my ability. But every now and then you measure something upside down, or you do something that, was just a rookie mistake. And these things happen, of course. Obviously, to mitigate that, you'd be more conscientious and pay attention to what you're doing. That just doesn't always happen. I had an assistant one time. Yes, I had an assistant who was ordering countertop for me, and I needed two lengths of countertop. This is just laminate post-form countertop, but it still costs money. 2 lengths of countertop, and in the order form, they put in the number 11 because that's Roman numerals for 2. But nobody uses Roman numerals when they're ordering things. They use actual numbers. So I got shipped 11 countertops. And that's way too many countertops. Just a rookie mistake. Don't use Roman numerals anymore. It's just use actual regular numbers. And that kind of thing happens. Now, of course, that didn't affect the job. We had more than enough countertop. We could have made a whole bunch of mistakes on those countertops. It would have been fine. So that mistake paid out in our favor in one regard, though we still had to pay for them. So not a big deal to the client. But another time I was picking up a countertop because it had been cut wrong, a mistake. So there's lots of mistakes that go on. And I threw it in the back of the truck and I made a rookie mistake. I didn't strap it in. I just threw it in the back of the truck. And we took off driving back to the shop because we had to get this thing recut and back to the client because it was getting late. It was getting, I think it was a Friday, but it was late in the afternoon and it's near the end of the job. Once the countertop starts going in, people start getting like, okay, like it's getting close to the end. We can start putting our dishes in now once the countertop goes in. So that's the signal that the end is near. And so when the end is near in a cabinet job and all of a sudden that kind of gets reversed and you see them taking your countertop out the door, heading off down in the sunset, it gets a little worrisome. And I didn't strap the countertops into the truck and I took a turn onto the main highway and all I heard was just the slide of the countertop out the back of the truck, out the tailgate. Tailgate was down onto the highway. That's not good. Just countertop on the highway. Pull over the truck, we get out. Countertop was not damaged, if you can believe it. It just slid out and just hit the pavement, the cement or whatever the pavement, and it didn't break. I mean, we just picked it up, pretended like nothing happened, put it back in the truck, strapped it in, got it back to the shop, recut the thing, and away we went. Those are the types of mistakes that can easily happen, but like you gotta strap in your countertop. That could have hit somebody's car. Or worse, like it was a really bad thing that happened. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, not even the countertop. We just looked like complete morons because we're out on the highway loading this countertop back on the truck. And of course, it's a logoed truck, so everybody knows who you are and, not a good scene. So mistakes happen. I'm sorry. Have you ever made a mistake? I've made tons of mistakes in my career and thankfully I've learned from them along the way, but there's still times when things happen. Now, I want to encourage you that if you're in a kitchen renovation project and if you are considering renovating your kitchen, seriously, I had to really think about a lot of these things because I've had so many positive experiences in this industry, so many great turnouts for kitchen jobs, even the ones that kind of went bad, they always turn around. And when you get everything finished and everything finally in there, even though maybe it took longer or, something happened along the way, the finished product is what everybody is really waiting for. And if we can go into these projects in any kind of renovation project with the mentality that if something happens, it's not the end of the world. We're going to get through this. It can be reordered. It's only wood or it's only stone or whatever. It's totally replaceable. And with that kind of mindset, things go a lot easier. But I always found the clients that expected everything to go perfectly. I knew right away, oh no, this is not going to be good because things just don't go perfectly. But there's so many people out there that were always very accommodating, saying, hey, thanks for telling me that I didn't like that news, but thank you for telling me that you did something wrong or something got damaged. And so for all those people out there, there's thousands of you who we've done kitchen jobs for. Thank you for being understanding that sometimes professionals make mistakes, rookies make mistakes, installers make mistakes, designers, people do things, and they end up being these horror stories, but they're not really that bad. Renovating a kitchen is really fun. And I have lots of comments that say I wouldn't do it again. And some people say when they're building a home or doing a big renovation project that they'd only do that once. They fought a lot, with their spouse, or it was tumultuous circumstances, just the whole renovation project. But I want to tell you, listen, I've done 4 of my own personal kitchens and I renovated thousands, and it's clients, and it's been fun. You get through that process. Like my video on Saturday, there's a little before and after clip of the kitchen in this house, what it was before. We tore everything out. We gutted the place and redid it. And although it was at times stressful or things didn't go the way that we particularly wanted it to, in the end, it was beautiful. In the end, we were super happy, super pleased. And, all the stuff, we forgot about all that stuff. It's no big deal. They're just stories now. And, so you get a good story out of it, you get a good kitchen out of it, and maybe you learn something along the way that sometimes you just need to be like, hey, nothing I can do. We'll get through this. Not a big deal. But renovating a kitchen is really fun. So I encourage you that if you're thinking of renovating your kitchen, definitely go for it. It's a great experience. Whether you're doing it yourself, all the stages yourself, or hiring someone like me to design, or hiring a company to come in and do all the work. Regardless, there's going to be things that happen, but it's really, really rewarding. And it's a good place to spend money in your home. It generally, gets you a good return on your investment, especially if you go to sell that home. And it's just nice to look at something that, is brand new and fresh and is functional and looks beautiful. So I highly recommend it. The last one is this: bad intentions. Now, thankfully, over the years, I've hadn't had to experience a lot of the problems that come up because people had bad intentions. In other words, maybe you have contractors or designers or people who are just kind of out to make a quick dollar. And those things definitely occur out there. The people that are scamming you, or they're squeezing the margin. I talk about kitchen pricing and how kitchens are priced according to margin. There's a particular markup on those kitchens. And me as the person in charge of that could easily make those numbers work for me and not you. So that's not cool. I always did my very best to get the margin I was supposed to for the company I work with, but the client also, that they're getting the best value out of what they're paying for. And obviously anything you buy, there's markup on it. So we all understand that. But when you're purchasing these large items that are very customized, that are particularly for your house, you can't take them back. You can't return them. You can probably sell off your cabinets, but cabinets are for a house or for a particular house. They don't fit another house, not easily, at least. And so I'm very thankful that over the years, I haven't had to experience a lot of that kind of scenario. A couple bad contractors along the way, but very, very few, and none that have, had any of I don't have any bad horror stories about bad contractors or installers. I've dealt with a lot of great people over the years. Now, maybe you've experienced contractors that came in and did a job for you that wasn't up to snuff, up to par, or, maybe they did something that was shady or just kind of cut corners. And that's definitely possible. Or you dealt with a salesman or a designer who, just kind of marked things up in a way that wasn't honest, and not cool. That's no good for anybody. It's not good for the industry, and it gives the industry a bad impression. And sometimes you think of contractors and you get a negative impression about it, because you think, well, they're out to do something. They're just out to rob you. But really, I've dealt with so many contractors, and they're awesome, wonderful people. And as you work with them, you'll find out how talented they are. And hey, there's a few bad apples out there, but that's the way it goes. So those are a lot of the different things that happen. I don't want to talk too much about any more horror stories, because I really don't have a lot, but I do want to jump into your comments and chat with you for a few minutes, because I haven't even been looking at the comments yet. So I just want to get in here for a minute. And and hey, I read a bunch of comments from the post I put out on the weekend, just asking if you've had any problems with doing a kitchen. And 70% of the people said, yeah, they definitely had an issue. And there are so many degrees of issues that anything's possible. So all right, so I'm looking here at some of your comments, and I just, I'm kind of late to the comments, so my apologies. I'm probably missed a whole bunch of you, so I'm just going to look through real quick. And I see a bunch of people. Hey, all right, so let me just start at the top real quickly and say hi, Karen, Natasha from the UK. Oh, awesome! So glad you could join the live stream. And Karen, you're in BC, yes. Ontario, hi, Deborah from Ontario, cool. Aurelia. Okay. I'm not sure where that is, but I've not been to Ontario a whole lot. California. Hey, Alan, how you doing? Did you get your IKEA yet? I heard you said you got your cabinets. You're missing some things still. Never work for family, friends, or neighbors. Here, why don't I just pop these up? Why don't I do that? Never work for family, friends, and neighbors. My grandpa used to say, yeah, help them out. Sometimes it's not good to work for them. Who knows? I don't know. What have you had an experience for that? I'm not sure. I've never. Well, I did work for a family member. Worked for my dad, and I didn't have a problem with it. So that's all good. Yeah, Terry Joe Scott from Florida. Hello from Florida. I hope it's warmer than it is here. It's very cold. I was out on the ice today skating on the river. It was nice. And oh, hey, you actually made the live. I'll put you up. Hey, Jennifer, nice to have you on here. Glad everyone can show up. Like I said, I'm a little bit late to these. I just want to kind of jump through that content a little bit. And Tonka Twin Truck had to fire some installers after the demo. No one wanted to pick up where they left off. It was a nightmare. Yeah. In this next video, I'll talk about installers a little bit and how the kitchen renovation process goes through their hands. Every kitchen that you see in Pinterest and Instagram and online and anywhere went through the hands of some installer, how important they are. And when you get bad ones, not cool. Yeah, poo always happens. Poo always happens. It does. Oh, hey, Eva. Eva, you out there? I'm saying hi to you. I got in so much trouble a few live streams ago because I didn't say hello to her, and I didn't want to do that tonight. Matthew's on. Hey, Matthew. Hope it's getting a little warmer up where you're at. It's not minus 30 degrees anymore, is it? I don't know. Let's see here. I'm going to fly through some of these. My recent new shower installment from 3 days to 3 months. And if I didn't call them, they did not keep me updated. See, that's just not good business. And I learned that the hard way because that honestly, back years ago, I could see myself in this situation that something's not going right. I'm like, I don't want to call the client. I don't want to get them upset. We'll just keep putting them off. We'll just keep doing whatever. Anyway, that never works. I hate to admit that, but it's just the truth. And yeah, so that's not good business right there. Communication is a good thing. Hey, Rob, Yo-Yo Mark. Sorry I'm late. No problem. I think it's Yo-Yo Ma. He played cello, but you can call me Yo-Yo Mark. That's all good. The kids are so hectic. I got to get them down here, man, and we'll go skating on the ice. Wear them out. Question, would you recommend using Formica as a backsplash? Thinking of doing a pattern for my countertops and using the same Formica on the walls of backsplash. I'm not against it. I definitely think, Karen, you can use Formica as a backsplash. The issue with Formica as a backsplash is normally laminate sheets come in some different grades of thickness, and you want to make sure you get a little bit of a thicker grade so that it doesn't show all the imperfections in your wall. So if you get what's called post-form grade, it's very, very thin. It's probably a 32nd of an inch thin, really thin. And that's what they use to laminate post-form countertop. And that's why they call it laminate countertop. And what you want to avoid is that real thin stuff. So you want to get a sheet that's like a 16th of an inch. And yeah, definitely put that up. I have no issue with that because I would recommend, like, if you had porcelain countertop and you put porcelain backsplash of the same color, I mean, it's essentially the same idea. You're just using Formica. Just be careful with the sheet thickness and the imperfections in the wall because they'll show through, and sometimes it doesn't look the best, but otherwise I have no problem with that at all. No breaks, no. Let's see. Hey, Rose, Kelly's on. Lynn, thank you so much for being on here. I have some family members who are completely melt down if their day doesn't go exactly how I envisioned. Yeah. Sometimes when things don't go as planned, we don't know how to handle it. Anyone who knows me, and if you're on the live stream and you know me personally, you know that I'm super laid back. It takes a lot to rile me up. I don't get upset easily. And That can sometimes be a downfall when you're dealing with other people's money because they want you to be a little more concerned about what's going on. And I'm like, hey, you know what? It'll all work out. And I'm like, that's not what we want to hear. But yeah. So great to have you guys on here. Oh, Alan, you're saying no, you're still waiting for 11 drawer fronts. That's not bad. At least you can get everything installed and, you know, and then you're just waiting. Okay. Hour and a half. Well, hour and a half north of Toronto. Hour and a half. Is that still considered GTA? I don't know. I haven't been to Toronto since I was a kid. She sobbed. You have no idea. Okay, what's this? You have no idea what it's like to only have one sink. I was so embarrassed for her. Thought I must have missed something up further. So, but that is kind of funny, just as it stands. Jumpins. Yeah, I can. Hey, Lindsay, nice to have you on here. Really cool. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, what's this one? Okay. You've been encouraging me to consider IKEA. Any comments on using their designers and installers? Okay. Yes, but it just totally depends on the store and the installers they're using. And if you're using their designer or the people that are just helping you in the showroom. Their designers, because I looked at I was going to apply to be one time, and they have a pretty good criteria of what they want their designers to be able to do and know. And so that gave me some confidence in saying, yeah, totally go with their designers. If it's the ones behind the closed door that you have to make an appointment with, the people on the floor, that could be hit or miss. Now, maybe they're awesome. I really, obviously I don't know, but they could be great. Installers, same thing. Like, it just really depends on the installer. But generally speaking, and this is generally speaking, if IKEA is hiring them to do the job, and they're a very big company, I would probably, consider that they have pretty good installers. So I have no problem with that. I would say go for it. Not an issue at all. Oh, yeah, there's a good question. I mean, I had people threaten me to sue me because their kitchen got shipped somewhere else. I had no part in that, but anyway, it worked out. They didn't, but yeah, that's bad. That can happen, especially from the standpoint of an installer, or if something goes wrong in the kitchen, or anything can happen. Whoa! I just seen a comment here. What's this, Rose? Oh, I'm just going to go back for a second. Well, Matthew, yes, we are part of a local drama because we were ripped off by a contractor who has been ripping off locals for years. Bad intentions. That's one of the real nightmares. We were even on TV when the story broke. Wow. And Rose, you're saying that we were ripped off for $30,000. I hope they got the guy, and I hope something can come of this. Or is it still ongoing? It sounds like it's still ongoing, and the guy is well connected, and every lawyer in town had a conflict of interest because of all the suits they had filed against him. That's gross. I hope that gets taken care of. So that's a real nightmare story. I'm thankful I haven't been involved in any of those kind of things. Really thankful, because man, like, people work hard for their money. A lot of people save up money for kitchen renovation, and to trust me to that process is really special. I don't know another way to put that. And I guess some people are just out to rip you off, and that's the horrible part of it. Alan's saying that, oh, I can't say any of these IKEA names. Is fairly easy to use, works better with PC versus Apple. Are you talking about the design? Software, Alan? What are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. You answered yourself already. That's the online kitchen design planner. Yeah, their kitchen design planner is fairly easy to use. I did a little bit of a tutorial on the channel a while back. I'm going to do another one because that one was not that good. So I'm going to do another one where I design a few kitchen designs using their planner. When I design a kitchen for IKEA, I use my design software. It's called Pro Kitchen, and it's for designers, for kitchen designers. And so I use that first, and I design everything in there, and then I just transfer all that just so I can get the price list from IKEA. It makes it a little bit easier. But IKEA's design planner is not difficult to use. Once you get a little bit hang of it, it has, obviously it's just for IKEA kitchens, which is fine if that's what you're going for. So yeah. All right, Lindsay, you have a question. Let me answer. Question: is assembling cabinets and then having someone else install them, right? Okay, a good way to save costs, or am I getting myself? Are you setting yourself up for a disaster? Anyone want to chime in there? What do you think? I think it's fine if you assemble them yourself, and as long as they're done correctly, I guess, and then have someone else come in. It would save you money and it would save them time, because if they have to assemble that box, then that's just obviously more time and more money. So yeah, I'm totally not against that at all if you're going to assemble them yourself. And in fact, at the very least, have someone install them. Even like, I'm pretty handy, but I don't want to install cabinets. I want them to be professionally installed, and it just puts the responsibility on someone else. So if I mess something up, well, that's horrible. But if you mess it up, then at least that can be fixed at no cost to me. So if I drill a door wrong, that's on me. But if you do it in my kitchen, that's on you and your company, and then that can get fixed. I don't have to pay for that. So I always recommend getting them installed, even if you're super handy, unless you're really good at it. I mean, some of you out there are so super good at it. So if that's the case, totally different. And someone's answering, Karen, what did you say? In my opinion, you should want to have the cabinet box installed first and then put the hardware on. Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't answer the right question. And then you can install the hardware. I would not install hardware myself, though, especially if you're drilling holes. But yeah, install the cabinets. You can adjust for unevenness. Yeah, you can definitely adjust for unevenness. Okay, so I think what you mean, Karen, if I totally mess this up, is you can have the boxes installed and put the doors on yourself, which is totally doable. That you can do yourself. That would even save more time. But yeah, you definitely want to get them installed. That's my opinion. All right. What's Jeff saying? Hey, Jeff, thanks for being on here. I have IKEA cabinets finally installed, and it came out fantastic. Awesome. 6 months working on it myself. Cool. Next, huge stainless steel sink and subway tile from floor to ceiling. I love subway tile from floor to ceiling, and sounds like you installed it all yourself. So that's good. And knowing what could have went wrong, it is nice to work through and have things work out. Love YouTube. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate it. And yeah, obviously some people can install cabinets themselves and get it done, really, really well. I could probably do it, but I just don't want to take the risk on all that money. Cool. Thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate the compliment on the channel. I love being on YouTube. It's really fun. This is actually my career now, which is interesting. I don't know what this comment is, so I'm going to just block that one. All right, so let's keep going. Oh, Gumpioki. How do you say any of these IKEA names? Why don't they just name them things that I can pronounce? I just can't say any of those. I got some of them, but anyway, I get it. There's Swedish. It's all good. Yeah, I don't trust my own skills, right? Oh, that's what? Okay. I thought, okay, I'm so sorry. So I thought your username was something Alan was referring to as an IKEA name. So my apologies. It's a mistake. That's a human error right there. So it's an ongoing thing, Rose. DA said civil matter, but in Tennessee, take 25. Wow, fraud. Prison time led to they fled the jurisdiction. Wow. So those people are just running the scam, and they're out there. I've seen them around, even in my community. There's people who just kind of run that business. And in the construction industry, the construction business is one of those businesses where you'll find those guys and girls pop up, ladies, sorry, come around who are, they just have ill intentions and they try to run these scams. So what do you do? That's really brutal. Hopefully it all works out in your favor. That's what we're hoping and praying for, because nobody wants to be taken like that. And that is a real nightmare story for sure. Once you have put the cupboards together, it becomes easier. You need someone familiar with how they go together on the wall. Yeah, you do. You definitely need somebody familiar. You don't want your first kitchen job to be yours. You want to at least practice on your friends. There's my camera again. You want to practice on your friends. Make all your mistakes there and then come to your house. Hey, Barbara. Thanks so much for being on. My designer is discouraging citing level problems. My toe kick and drawers. Okay. What did it take? Should I insist? Would like to extra. Oh, okay. Toe kick drawers because things aren't level. Well, if your floor is that on level that you can't use toe kick drawers, then you're going to have a little bit of an issue. I guess one thing would be, can you fix the flooring issue? And how bad is it? If it's really bad and you can't use them, I guess you can't use them. So if your designer is saying, hey, listen, this is probably not going to work out well, then they're probably telling you the truth, because your floors aren't level. Obviously, that has to fit in underneath there and be installed. And if your flooring is that badly out of whack, it might not be the best solution, because it'll just cause you problems down the road. But why? Can that be fixed? Can the floor be leveled? And obviously the cabinets have to be leveled. They're going to be leveled on that floor, and there's going to be room in there. So it must be really bad if in that short span of that thing pulling out from underneath, that they are recommending you not doing that. Yeah, interesting. I haven't done a whole lot of toe kick drawers, but I would say it just wasn't something that was super popular back when I was coming up. It's a lot more popular now, and I think they're fantastic. But again, if it's not level, you might have a definite issue with that. And one thing I know, even new homes can be out of whack, completely not level, and that's something that you have to deal with. And I've had to deal with clients before. That was a nightmare actually that I had to go through, is because the installer, not the installer, the contractor, the ceiling wasn't level and the cabinets were finished to the ceiling. And so that finish work it looked out of whack because the ceiling wasn't level. And I was getting blamed. Well, not me personally, but my installer was getting blamed because it wasn't level and they didn't do it right. So I made the mistake of telling the homeowner that the contractor wasn't very good. I didn't say it like that, but I just said, hey, they put the ceiling in, it's not level. And then I got back to the contractor. Of course, the contractor came to me, and that wasn't very cool because he wasn't very happy that I told the client that his ceiling wasn't level. But I'm like, well, dude, like it just wasn't level. Like it wasn't my fault. I know you want to be angry at me, but maybe get angry at your crew and make sure your ceilings are level. Anyway, brand new home, ceilings weren't level. What do you do? So yeah, do you find problems? So again, haven't used a lot of toe kick drawers. And the only problem the two things I could consider with them being a problem is what was mentioned, that the Barb mentioned that the floors were uneven, or that's, sometimes in drawers, if things fall in behind, that's a super awkward place to get at. You have 4 inches maybe of space underneath that if something gets in behind that you have to get at, that is, that's not cool. So a couple things to consider there, but otherwise I think they're cool. Alan, I couldn't agree with you more. If you're watching this now, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. If you're this far along into it, because really we're just chatting and just hanging out, talking about kitchen stuff. But if you made it this far into the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel if you like my kind of content. And of course, you can check out mtkd.ca if you're looking for an online kitchen design solution. And if that's right for you, then maybe it's right for you and we can go down that road. I'd love to design a kitchen for you. I've been doing this for a long time and still learning, and it's always fun, but I love working with clients and trying to draft up the best kitchen solution for the space that they have. And oftentimes there's a few different ways to do that, but all right. Any asbestos on, oh yeah. Yeah, if you run into asbestos, that's going to be a problem for a whole bunch of different reasons. All right. Hey, you know what? Hey, thanks for saying hi. I don't think I've had anyone from Saskatoon on the live stream before. Thanks for tuning in. Hello from Saskatoon. Your show rocks. Cool. Thank you. I don't read very good. Should have stuck with English as a major instead of what I did. I actually have a degree in biology. So there you go. Could you consider a show about countertop depth appliances, fridges, as many are not really the sizes they claim to be? Finding the right one is a nightmare. On my video Saturday that's coming up, I'm talking about the mistakes you want to avoid. And one of the mistakes, I'll just give you this one, is your appliance sizes. And let me just chat about this for a second. Once I have a sip of coffee. Cold coffee. Oh. Okay, not cool. Countertop depth appliances. When you're ordering a kitchen, you want to, or when you're designing a kitchen, when you are thinking about a kitchen renovation, the very first thing you should be thinking about is your appliances. Whether or not you're keeping your old appliances or your new appliances, and making sure you have the correct dimensions, or your designer has the correct dimensions of the appliances you're going to have. And this especially comes into play not only with fridges, but with anything that has a cutout that has to be inserted, like a microwave or a warming drawer or anything like that, double oven, stuff that has to be inserted. And fridges as well. Fridges come in all different shapes and heights. I was going to say sizes, but they really don't come in different shapes, just different sizes, sorry. And they're just big rectangular prisms, really. But they're also different. And if you have a kitchen installed and you bring that, this is a nightmare, actually. I've had this happen a few times. You bring in the fridge and just clunk, 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 won't go into the hole that it's allotted to fit into. That's a real problem, because it could have been fixed earlier if you had the right dimensions. So there's no right or wrong dimension for an appliance. They are what they are. It just makes sure you get them right. Now, countertop depth, finished countertop depth should be 25.5 from your wall to the front of your bowl nose. That's pretty standard in the industry, is to have 25.5. That might vary a quarter an inch here or there, but that is the depth that countertop should be, unless you're going with an island, and then it can be really whatever, considering the overhang is going to be subject to the particular material that you're using. Okay. So that being said, double check your appliances, make sure your installer and your designers know exactly what you're using. And, then at least you've covered that base. And I've even, in my own kitchen here, I ordered this through the company that I used to work for and design kitchens through. And I called the manufacturer myself to make sure that the cutout size for my microwave was correct, because I know what can happen. Because when you read through the specs on those, it can get a little bit tricky to figure out what it is that they want and what it has to be. So I don't know if that answered your question, but thanks for tuning in anyway. And yeah, let me go back up. What did I miss? So again, we're just chatting. So if you're watching the replay here, we're just into the comments. I'm going to take a few more comments and then we'll say goodnight. And I really appreciate everyone coming on. I love hanging out. The only thing I wish is that this could be more of a two-way thing where we could all be on here hanging out, but it isn't. It's just me because, it'd be cool. You all have great things to say. You give me so many great ideas for videos and things that you want to see. So hopefully I can keep making videos that you like that you come back for. So what should be done when ceilings are not level? When you want to get crown molding or scribe. So if the ceilings are not level and you're finishing your cabinets to the ceiling, then normally what I would do, and I think this is what you're asking. So if the ceilings are not level and you're finishing the cabinets to the ceiling, when you go to the crown molding, scribe or a thick filler. So I would always use 3 moldings. One is like basically a plate with a notch in it. It's called a plate rail. And then a piece of filler or soffit to the ceiling, and then the crown molding. But the problem is if the ceiling isn't finished, you're going to see the difference in the soffit panel. So that flat panel, forward-facing flat panel, you're going to see the difference in that. There's nothing you can do about that to a degree. You can try to offset it with the crown a little bit, but if the ceilings are really bad, I recommend not going to the ceiling, just putting a smaller crown or a smaller trim on top so that you don't notice that. I don't know if that answers your question, but it happens a lot because ceilings aren't level, and that can be something that you have to come up against. But in the event that they are really bad, then don't use crown. Just go with a panel and put a scribe or something smaller to the ceiling that's less noticeable so that you don't see the differences badly. All right, that's my 2 cents on that. Darlene, you got a late thumbs up. Come on. Thanks, Darlene. If I miss anybody here as I'm going through, my apologies. I'm doing my best. I missed my own daughter a few weeks ago, so what can you do? Hi, Mark. Hi, Chantel. I just had quartz full wall and countertop installed. Ooh, some bad cuts on my 16-inch depth window sill and under upper cabinets. They blame uneven wall. I blame bad cuts on site. Quartz? Well, yeah. So what I'm thinking is you had it finished into your windowsill, which is super nice. I love that look. Blame uneven walls. Well, it could be uneven walls, and it could be bad cuts. It could be installation problem. It is an installation problem overall. These are the types of things that should have been looked at before they installed it, I guess is the best way of putting that. Because I don't know fully, but they should have known beforehand that, hey, these walls are super bad. I don't know if this is a good idea. Way before they show up with the quartz. So at the very least, whether it was the walls or they made mistakes, if it was the walls, they should have known beforehand. I'll say that. The fact that they didn't do that, it could be the walls, but now it's up, it's installed, and it doesn't look good. So it could be bad cuts. It definitely could be bad cuts. That's something that happens a lot, especially if it's fabricated like locally. Not that that's a bad thing, and don't mishear me, but that can definitely happen if it's not in a facility that handles large slabs and has CNC machines, like where the cuts are done perfectly. If it was that situation, if it's a big company like that, I would say it could be the walls. Hard to know. And it's also something that they should do more than just say, well, it's your fault kind of thing. It's not your fault. You paid for it. You want it to be done right. So I don't know the exact answer that they should have given you, but they should have said more than, too bad, so sad kind of thing. You have bad walls. They should have told you that long ago. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the name of the drawer fronts, Alan. Cool. Yeah, I've seen those made from real birch. Those look nice. Alan, please send me a picture of this when you are finished. We've been chatting about this on a few live streams now. I want at least a picture of your kitchen. Send it to Mark at this mtkd.ca. That would be super cool. I'm going to get rid of another comment here. I don't know. I need a producer. Hey, Mission Joy. Cool. I love your username. Hi, Mark. I'm in US, Indiana. Started following you through a trail of Canadian designers and painters. Cool. Oh, I really appreciate you joining the live stream, and thank you for subscribing. It's really cool. Yeah, I follow a few Canadian designers myself, trying to learn things because I'm not an interior designer. I am just a kitchen designer, and I know very little about interior design. So hey. But that's not my claim to fame. I don't have any claim to fame other than I just try to make functional kitchens. So I am trying to learn about as much interior design as I can when I can. So I watch Nick Lewis and some other Canadian and non-Canadian. Doesn't really matter to me where they live. If they have good info, they have good info. So I try to listen to those people. So thank you so much for subscribing. That's what I'm trying to say. Mark, what amount of space would you use for a fridge looking at 40 inches in width? 41 inches. Just go 1 inch bigger, and it'd be fine. Unless the actual spec of that 40-inch fridge is like 39 and 7/8, like whatever it is. But if it's 40-inch, go with 41. And that goes for any size fridge. Just give it an inch. You won't be sad. It makes it, especially if it's enclosed with between two fridge panels or a pantry and a fridge panel, or whatever it's going into that space. Then you want to have a little bit of wiggle room. You're not going to notice a half inch on either side. It's not going to be a game changer. And normally in a kitchen, hopefully you can find an inch for that. Make that possible. So I recommend that. I always make my fridge cabinets an inch bigger in width and actually make them 26 inches deep if we're going custom, so that if there's this is a really good tip, by the way. This is worth the admission fee. If you have a fridge panel, okay, or a pantry or anything, and you make it 26 inches deep, because the fridge is going to handle that. When the adjacent cabinets and countertop come into that, the countertop will just fit flush into that fridge panel instead of overhanging over the front of it. It looks way more finished when it butts into that. So making it 26, you get a half inch extra, and that countertop can just slide and butt right up to it. It looks way more finished. It looks professional. That's my advice. Right there for fridges. 36, looking at a 36-inch wide fridge with 2 inches. No, that's too much. If it's a 36-inch wide fridge, go at 37 inches. Unless you plan on getting a bigger fridge someday, then make that thing the size of the fridge you're going to get and use big filler strips to, close that in a little bit. But I wouldn't go any larger than an inch. That's my advice. All right, I have to go. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm just popping through here, and I'm going to go. I have to scale down through. Cool, that's how you found me too. Well, I'm glad I'm being found by you watching other people. That's always good. The channel's growing, and hopefully it just keeps on growing because I really enjoy this. All right, cool. Hey, Kellogg. Cornflakes, look at that. A couple more here and then we'll get going. Do you recommend cutting quartz countertops yourself? Never. No. I mean, if you have the tools to cut quartz countertops, then you should be doing that as your job. Otherwise, most people aren't going to have the tools. But if you did, if you had some diamond blades, I still wouldn't recommend it. That should be done on a CNC machine, in my opinion. So no, unless you like, okay, there's always an exception. You have to for some reason, and you have no other way of doing it. Now, if you have to drill a hole, that's a different reason. Like if you're putting in a sink and you need another hole for your tap and you have to drill a hole, I would say, okay, if you can handle that and you have the tools to drill a hole into quartz without cracking it or making a mess, then go for it. But otherwise, I don't recommend it. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Yes, have a good night. Blessings to your family. Thank you so much. Say hi to the sweet daughter. I will. I have 2 sweet daughters and a super awesome son, so I'll say hi to all 3 of them for you. And an amazing wife. I might as well say hi to her too for you. In the meantime, thanks everyone for being on the live stream. We'll be here again next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you watched the replay this long, wow, I can't even believe it. So thank you. If you haven't subscribed, maybe it's a time to take the next step in our relationship and hit that subscribe button. And otherwise, have a super awesome night, and we will chat again on the next live stream. Thanks, everyone. I really super appreciate you. Bye-bye. Oh, and hey, I might as well just put one more. Hi. Hi, Mom and Dad. Okay, good night.